Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. Emily Dickinson. It is the prophet Isaiah who calls forth hope of a messenger, of a peaceable kingdom where all is restored to the beauty and safety of Eden. And we point to John the Baptist as the messenger of hope, the harbinger of the coming Messiah. And we hear, repent, for the kingdom of heaven has come near. The people have gathered, even the Sadducees and Pharisees have come out to hear and experience the spectacle of John, one who has emerged from the wilderness and now appears at the River Jordan. He bears the apparel of a prophet and speaks with an unearthly clarity. His message is for all people, the good, the bad, the indifferent, to come home to a new relationship with God, the God of love, the Creator God, the all-encompassing, all-knowing, all-loving God. I encountered John the Baptist once when I lived in Asheville and worked in a natural food store. He came in off the mountain after several months of isolation. He had a mystical quality about him. There was a purity and stillness within him which radiated a peaceful soul. His appearance was wild. His eyes were crystal blue pools of dancing light. His clothing was worn and tattered, his hair and beard unruly and long, his body very slim from eating what he could forage in the woods. His few words held a truth in them that comes from being alone, in tune with God and creation, and being in the hustle and bustle of the world after being removed from it for so long seemed physically and psychically painful for him. From the silence and stillness emanated a purity of soul. He did not say aloud, "Repent, for the kingdom of heaven has come near," yet his very being profoundly proclaimed the message, if one was open to the experience, to experience it in his presence. Have you ever had such an encounter? We see John as the one the prophet Isaiah spoke of when he said, "The voice of one crying out in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord, make his path straight." John is the harbinger of the one who is coming, of the coming of the messianic age, the age of God's anointed one, the king from the line of David. John's message preaches, engaging in acts of reorienting one's life toward God, ritually purifying oneself in the waters of baptism, then bearing good fruit through right conduct, activity, and integrity. And integrity is key. It doesn't matter how much ritual one does, or who our people are, our genealogy, or what really matters is who we are in the world, what kind of person we are in relation to others. As we continue on our pilgrimage through the season of Advent, some of us are wandering in the wilderness of loss and grief of loved ones. All of us wander in the wilderness of the world we knew, which is now profoundly changed, and we are searching to find our way forward. For some, the journey through Advent is reflected in the practice of walking a labyrinth, going in and out and back and forth through short and long circuits, through encountering darkness and light, sound and silence. The season of Advent is a time of daring to live into expectant hope. Hope that draws us forward, draws us out of ourselves, even in the moments when the world is at its worst or we are at our lowest. It is hope that encourages the better angels in our souls. Hope expressed in the Christmas truce of 1914. It was the early days of World War I. The troops were fighting trench warfare, where the soldiers could see the enemy across no man's land, sometimes no farther than 40 feet away. And insults could easily be shouted back and forth. And then one night, instead of insults came, "Stille Nacht, heilige Nacht," with the reply, "Silent night, holy night." The soldiers slowly emerged out of their trenches, sharing cigarettes, treats, and even champagne. And then a soccer ball was produced, and about 200 men kicked the ball around until the higher command called an end to the magic and festivities. And for once, in the midst of war and fighting, peace prevailed on earth at Christmas. This is a true story. When for a moment in history fighting stopped and the peace of Christ reigned at Christmas. This is a story of hope that has captured the heart and imagination of the world ever since. And yes, even then, there were deniers that this ever happened. But those who experienced it documented it through letters and photographs. It is for real. In this season of Advent, what are your greatest hopes? Peace, love, for justice to prevail, for enough food for the world, for warmth and safety for all people, for a generous heart. My prayer in this season of Advent is for the stillness and peace of expectant waiting to fill the hearts, minds, and souls of all human beings, that we may embrace hope, peace, joy, and love, and bring about the kingdom of heaven on earth, here and now, if only for a moment. Who knows? The magic of the season may prevail, and the kingdom of heaven emerge, even from our human faults and failings. It was Teresa of Calcutta who said, "It is Christmas every time you let God love others through you." Yes, it is Christmas every time you smile at your brother and offer him your hand. Let us all pray for miracles to abound all over the world. And so I close with the fullness of the poem by Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And the sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chilliest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me.